Hi guys, Squid here, and welcome to my first look video of SnowRunner. SnowRunner, of course, being the spiritual successor, or actually probably just the straight-up successor to MudRunner. If you ever played MudRunner, or before that Spintires, you'll know exactly what kind of game this is. This is probably one of, if not the greatest off-road games ever made, is what Spintires and MudRunner was, and this is the successor to it. This takes what it built in MudRunner and takes it to a whole new level. There's an awful lot of playability and things to do in this game, which I'm going to take you through in a second. I'm just on my way back to the garage, and then we'll show you some stuff in the garage, and I'll show you around the map and that kind of thing. This game is bigger than the original MudRunner. It has far more places to go, more terrain. It has America, Alaska, and Russia, and it has a whole ton of vehicles, customization, and more importantly, freedom to do what you want in the game. Let's start off by having a look at the map, shall we? So if we go to the global map, which is here, this gives us an overview. Right at the top there, you'll see Michigan, Alaska, and the Taymyr. Michigan is set in America, obviously Alaska is up in Alaska, and Taymyr is set in Russia. Each of them have very different kinds of terrain. Michigan is really all about mud, trees, kind of gritty, rainy, wet areas. Alaska is obviously to do with snow and ice, which is a brand new thing in the game. It was never in MudRunner before. Those are two very different kinds of terrain and with their own challenges. And Taymyr is a kind of a blend between those few things, and also opens the door for Russian vehicles, whereas these are more North American kind of vehicles. Now, you'll notice within which region, as they're called, Michigan, there are 4 locations. There's the Black River, Smithfield Dam, Island Lake, and Drummond Island. All of these each of them is bigger than an entire MudRunner map. Quite a bit bigger, like 4 times the size. And all of them are connected. And you can drive between them freely, and you can move goods and vehicles between them freely. So you can see already that you get way more driving space than you ever did in MudRunner. Never mind that you get the same thing in Alaska, and then you get 3 lots in the Taymyr. Not to mention, of course, that modding support is there again, so you can expect to get map mods as well. If we have a look at the Black River in Michigan, this is where you start the actual game. You actually start over in this corner here, and the game initially sort of handholds you through the construction of this bridge here. Having got this bridge constructed by moving some of the goods from this town to this bridge, the bridge becomes available for you to use to drive across this road. Now that's important because the map is structurally functioned into many different tasks and contracts that you can do. But some of the jobs that you do will make life so much easier. For example, there's another bridge over here that you can construct later. It doesn't make you do it, but anytime you feel like doing it, you can make this bridge. And once you've made this bridge, you can more easily traverse the terrain. There's a few things like that, including fallen power lines around the map that you'll need to fix in order to be able to drive down those roads. So those are things that will just make your life easier. Now, you don't have full visibility on the map like this when you first start it. In fact, if you notice, there's these watchtowers here. If you remember the old MudRunner game, there was these swirly grey cones, and they would block your visibility around the map. Well, they're now replaced with these watchtowers. If we go out to the map and go over to the Smithfield Dam, you'll see this is what it generally starts out like. Now notice, some of the watchtowers are fairly small in the area they cover, but other ones are much, much bigger. That means these are more difficult to approach because you can't see the terrain nearby and how to approach them. It also means that when you do unlock them, you'll unlock a large area across the map. This is something that, again, that you'll need to do on your task list. This is the kind of thing that's best done by a scout vehicle. A scout vehicle, the most ideal one on this map, is something with mud tires on it, a very high suspension travel, and high maneuverability. You can use it to just get around rough terrain, get these watchtowers unlocked, and then you can see what you're dealing with. That opens the door for other sectors of the map. Now, around the map, you'll have, as well as watchtowers, you'll have a whole bunch of things. There will be upgrades that you can unlock, and these are marked on the map here. If we was to drive over here, you will then unlock an upgrade. Probably to your vehicle, could be to a trailer, it could be a new engine, new suspension component, whatever. We'll talk about that in a second, but they're upgrade components that you can get. You'll also find that there are tasks to do, things that just need doing, like one-off jobs. and there are contracts that you can take to do multiple jobs. There are places such as the machine factory that supplies metals. There are places like the lumber mill that supplies wood. Now, this is different to MudRunner. MudRunner was more about moving logs around. With this, it's much more flexible. So let's take a look at the contract side of things. So on the top left there, it says contracts, and then we have tasks. Let's look at contracts. So in this area, we have the Husky Forwarding, the Dyson Diesel, and the Steel River Township. Each of them have a whole bunch of jobs that you can do for them. For example, Not a Drill is something that I'm currently working on. I moved a load of metal over here, and now it wants me to move an oil rig drill bit, but the oil rig drill bit is in the next map. It's in Smithville Dam. So this is an example of a job where you will have to move things from one location to another location, making it quite cool. But to do it, we'll need to have this semi-trailer. We can go and collect the rig semi-trailer from this part of the map, or we can go and buy one. More about trailers in a second. That's how contracts work. Contracts are very varied in the way they approach things. Some of them will just be moving some goods, some will be moving drill equipment, others will be recovering things. For example, if we have a look at, say, wet harvest, this is a simple job. Deliver 2 lots of bricks, 2 lots of wooden planks, and 1 lot of metal planks. That's going to require you to make multiple trips, because your trailer, particularly in the early days, your trailer will only move so many goods. 1 metal plank generally takes up an entire flatbed trailer. Bricks, on the other hand, they can stack 2 in a flatbed trailer. For anything else, you're going to need a much longer trailer to deliver more goods. Power lines. This is a simple job. Just deliver metal planks and they will reconstruct the power lines. A fuel order. You need to move some cargo around. This is a curtain side trailer that you'll need, and then concrete blocks and metal planks to be moved. That's how you deliver contracts. You do all of these jobs to deliver for Husky Forwarding. Contrast that to the tasks, for example. Now with tasks, they are like one-off jobs around the place. This one, for example, a drowned heavy truck. It might look pretty simple, but there's actually a truck right in the middle of this field, and you think, oh, that's actually quite easy to get to. No, it's not. If you take a truck down here, you'll find that the mud here is at least 4 or 5 feet deep in places, and very, very wet. You'd actually need an upgraded truck to haul this out of here. It's very tricky. It even gives you a hint. Recommended is an off-road truck. Rock slide over here. That simply delivers some goods, and they'll get rid of the rock slide. Missing oil tank. Some of them are search and delivery. This one here, for example, you need to look around the area to find out where the missing oil tank is, and then recover it and bring it back here. So there's a fair amount of variety in the contracts and the jobs, and that's just on this map. You'll also notice there's rain in this game for the first time. I don't ever remember rain being in MudRunner. What I'm curious about, and I don't know yet, is if I go to Alaska, will I get snow as well? I haven't really driven around Alaska at the moment, so I'll let you know on that score. Something else to note is when you do these missions and tasks, you get 2 things. The first one is the stars that you can see there. They are, if you like, experience points. They add up and allow you to level up. That levels up your profile. You can see I'm now level 5. Underneath is your cash. Your cash you use to buy vehicle upgrades and customization. Now, as well as the contracts and the tasks, you've also got contests. Contests are built within the tasks themselves, so some of them will give you different rewards depending on how quickly you do it. For example, this one down here on Drummond Island is a race with rain. So this is a mission that if you do it within 1.5 minutes from the point where you accept it, you'll get $2,000 and 120 stars. If you take longer than 2.5 minutes, you're going to get less than half of that. So there's also these things to keep an eye on as well when you're picking your jobs and your tasks. Just make sure they're not a contest, because if they are, they're basically a timed mission. Finally, there's achievements. Achievements are... I mean, this is not in Steam. That's the other thing. This is only on the Epic Games Store right now, this game, which I know is going to upset a lot of people. A lot of people don't like the Epic Games Launcher and the Epic Games Store, but this is an exclusive. I don't know if it's going to last longer than 12 months or not, but at the moment you can only buy it on the Epic Games Store. So there are no Steam achievements as such, but there are these achievements here. And you can see these are just something that you can either aim for, drive 1 kilometer in the water, or there's something that you will just pick up naturally. Explore all the garages in the game, 50%. So let's talk about the vehicles, the customization, and the garages. The garages are key to the game. This is where you will buy and This is where you will buy your vehicles and customize your vehicles. When you enter the garage, it automatically repairs and refuels the garage that you take in. So when you go inside, there's a whole bunch of slots where you can store various vehicles. You can also put these things in what it called retain mode. So down the bottom there it says press X to retain. If I retain this truck, it puts it in my, if you like, global store. It's not taking up a spot in this garage, it's in my super garage. That is also a way that you can move vehicles between different parts of the map, and it's also a way that you can take vehicles into multiplayer. More on that later. So, it starts off with the customization of this truck. Customization is very, very detailed in this game. One of the things that separates MudRunner from SnowRunner is in SnowRunner, you're not restricted to choosing vehicles to take into a scenario. In SnowRunner, you can have a whole army of trucks and trailers with different customizations, and you can pick and choose the right tool for the job. It gives you a lot of flexibility. So on this GMC, it says here this is primarily a highway truck. It doesn't even have diff lock or all-wheel drive on it. It shows you the power to weight ratio, the durability, fuel consumption, and fuel capacity. Now, the power to weight is obviously important when you're dealing with acceleration and how likely it is to be able to haul its own backside. The durability is interesting because rather than just have a single amount of damage points now, damage is broken up on these vehicles into small components like the transmission, the wheels, the engine, and so on. Durability affects how likely they are to take damage when they hit something. High durability items will damage a lot less, and therefore leave you less stranded and with less of a repair bill. Fuel consumption is obviously how quickly you're going to burn fuel. You can see this engine, if I click on it, is this one here, the standard one. If I was to spend $2,500, I could have this one, but you can see that it reduces my durability and my fuel consumption. Gearboxes, we're currently running a balanced one. In order to run an off-road or a high-range one, it says at the top we have to explore Michigan, USA to find this item. So there's an off-road gearbox somewhere around Michigan for this truck that we can find, and it will then unlock it. Suspension, you can see this is the stock suspension, and we've got a raised suspension. And because I've actually found this item around the map, I can now activate it. And this is much, much easier to drive around muddy terrain. However, bear in mind it is a road truck, so it's not really geared for that kind of thing. Tires have a massive, massive effect in this game. At the moment, I can only take highway tires on this, and you can see they're primarily just different styles. The difference between these two is obviously the radius of the tire, but they're all highway tires. The all-terrain tires, I need to get rank 6. I've got 4,400 points left before I get that. The off-road tires are rank 8. The chained tires are rank 12. Oh my god, chained tires. How many times have I played Euro Truck, driven in snow and pro mods, and wished for chained tires? This is such a cool thing to take to Alaska. We've then got the winch. At the moment, we've got a stock winch, but look at this. We've got an extended winch, an advanced winch, and a high-power winch. So in theory, this truck could be used to help recover other things or just maneuver trailers that have perhaps fallen over. As long as they're near the road, this will be fine. Diff lock, very, very important when you go off-road. Not so important in this truck. At the moment, it says it is unlocked, but there's an engaged version that we need to find around Michigan. Spare wheel, something that is locked. Snorkel, useful if you're going in areas where there's a lot of deep water, allows the engine to carry on breathe. Something we can buy now for $800. And then finally, frame add-ons. For this particular truck, we've got the heavy crane, a flatbed, the van body, which it says stocked with all the tools and resources needs for repairs in the field. So this is basically your MudRunner repair vehicle. Maintenance frame add-on, which comes with a load of stuff. Again, just a bigger amount of points. You've got the seismic vibrator module. This is a mission-specific thing. There are missions where you need to go and do scientific tests, and this is one of the bits of equipment that you'll need for that. Make yourself into a fuel truck. Make yourself into a loading crane. These are quite useful. I've got the other truck that you start with, not the GMC, but the Fleet Star. I equipped it with a crane and a flatbed like this, and I was able to haul metal and concrete and wood quite easily. There's a saddle high and a saddle low, which is basically the fifth wheel. This is something that you need when you want to attach semi-trailers to the back of this truck. If we go to customize, this is where it gets even more interesting. So this This is to do with upgrades. This is to do with customization. So for this truck, and remember there are different for every single truck. We've got different kinds of mud guards that we can put, or fenders, as the Americans call them. And then there's got the angled visors, rooftops. These are really cool. Recommend you get these. They give you so much more visibility at night with the lights on. Front bumpers. We've got lots of different styles of bumpers we can put on. We've got factory parking lights or external horns, which we've already got fitted. So not that much on this truck. And then the exhaust, we've got a out-rolled and a flat cap. Again, that's just a cosmetic thing. It's not going to affect the truck. It's just a cosmetic thing. No, I don't want to buy that. And then finally, the rims. Again, these are cosmetic items. They don't affect the function of the vehicle, but the tires do. Now, finally, you've got the paint. Quite a lot of options here, including some nice classic striped colors that you might want to put on your vehicle. So yeah, a ton of options. I mean, something like this is quite nice. Or you can just go for single flat tone colors. Some of them have like a customizable color as well with some like decks of cards on them and that kind of thing. I would take that one. So that is how to customize a truck. Now, if you go to the truck store, this is where it gets absolutely nuts. So they're broken into categories of Scout, Off-Road, Heavy, Heavy Duty, and Highway. Let's start with the Scout trucks. So this is one that you can get right at the start, the Chevy. In fact, it's automatically unlocked for you. But it quite quickly goes on into International Loadstars, Hummers, the K-Han. And if you notice, it says not available in the USA. So there are some vehicles that you can only get from different parts, like Russia maybe, that kind of thing. Then you've got the off-road vehicles, International Paystar, absolute classic of a vehicle. Again, different requirements, must reach rank 17 to get this, must explore the world to unlock this truck. So that's going to be something that you're only going to get much later on in the game. Notice at the bottom it says seismic vibrator compatible. Maybe, you know, you want to get a truck and make sure that you can do those seismic missions. That looks like some kind of classic Russian truck. Really cool. And it tells you down the bottom whether it's got all-wheel drive, whether it's got diff lock, what kind of suspension it comes with, and the tire model. Power to weight durability is something that you can look at. But again, having got all of these trucks, when you do get them, you can take them into the workshop and just customize them however you want. So it's quite feasible to have, you know, 2 of these trucks, one kitted up for, you know, with a crane and hauling things, and the other one just kitted up to carry semi-trailers and large amounts of concrete on the back. However you want, you can just customize it. It's so cool. Western Stars, Cats, you can see they've got all the brand names in here. Azovs, Russian vehicles, heavy duty trucks. The Fleet Star is the one that you get near the start of the game. That's pretty good workhorse, that one. Done a lot of jobs in with the Fleet Star. And then you've got the highway trucks, which are obviously meant to stay on the highway itself. So this is the kind of vehicle that maybe you make into a fuel tanker or mobile repair site, and then just drive it on the main highway somewhere near to where you're working. But your off-road vehicles are in the field and it's a long drive back to the garage or the fuel station. These are the kind of trucks that you would park nearby so that you can just come back, refuel, repair, that kind of thing. So it's up to you how you play the game. That's the big difference between this and MudRunner, is you build your trucks, you buy what you need, and then you take it and get a job done. Let's go and have a quick look at the trailer store. Now, if you've played MudRunner and Spintires and those kind of games, you'll be very familiar with the control system. But, you know, up on the D-pad or shift key or whatever, and you can quite quickly just click on, for example, stop engine, change truck, instantly change that way. Another way to do it is via the main menu. Just jump into a truck across the menus, starting up the vehicles and the handbrakes and everything, all very samey. Down the bottom right there, you've got automatic gearbox. You can hold right stick on the controller if you're using that. Move to a low gear, great for climbing. Notice how the low gear on the left is split. If there's a gearbox you can get that gives you a couple more up, high and low range basically on the low gear to give you more options. There's also reverse gear, neutral, and there's a high gear. Those gears I can't access. Like in MudRunner, you could access most of the gears on the vehicles straight away, because in this, you customize your own gearbox and your engine. You get to pick and choose what kind of thing you actually have in the vehicle. Now you can see this has got an all-wheel drive. Press the A key, you get the all-wheel drive. So all the wheels are now driving. If I want diff lock though, I have to go into the low gear in order to enable diff lock. So it does have some differences. from MudRunner. Some really cool differences, and will put a lot more flexibility. Now near your garage here is the trailer store, this bit. You can see I've got some trailers over here. This is another thing, you can have as many trailers as you like. You're only limited by money. You can store them all here outside, but if you go inside the trailer store, if I just pull forward a little bit, look a bit better on it. Just go here like that, for example. I've obviously got this thing on the back, so it's going to clip into... I couldn't really spawn a semi-trailer, but if I could, that's what it would look like. I've got the semi-trailer, could cost me 6,600. Fuel carrier trailer I could haul. Some of them have dollies on, some of them just go straight onto the fifth wheel with a kingpin setup. Flatbed trailer, obviously useful for logs and wood and that kind of thing. Sideboard trailer, sideboard semi-trailer, and notice the carrying capacity is different. For example, the sideboard trailer can carry 2 units of... It works in units, not in logs. So this will take 2 units of, say, concrete. This would take 5. So obviously there'll be a lot of weight there, but greater carrying capacity. Then there's the ramped flatbed, which is obviously useful for hauling vehicles that can drive on the back and be clamped. There's a maintenance trailer, which has 356 points of repair and 2,000 litres of fuel. So really great general maintenance trailer you could leave lying around in the field. Service trailer, 1,500 repair points, which is an awful lot. And then the heavy-duty lowboy trailer, which can take 3 units there. So that's essentially how the trailer systems work. You configure the truck, then you configure the trailer, and then you put the 2 together. You can see on this particular truck, I've got a crane and a flatbed. Now, if I want to operate this, what I do is I can go down to activate anchor, which puts the feet out, and then I can press the X key to go into crane mode. And this is how you operate the crane. You can swing left and right, you can extend it in and out, up and down. And you basically click to pick something up, you load it into the back, drop it, and then attach the cargo, and it locks it into the back there nicely. So yeah, if you've used MudRunner and Spintires, you'll be very familiar with these controls. But if you've not, it won't take you long to get used to the whole thing. I mentioned earlier the damage model was improved. If you press up on the D-pad and you get the option to show damage down there, you can see the individual components now. So each wheel has 50 damage points that it can take, so it's quite feasible to totally destroy a wheel and all the others being completely intact, which is kind of cool. Then you've got the engine inside. The tank has 50 points, the suspension 140, the gearbox 180, and so on. Bear in mind that the axle, which sits down here, is actually quite easy to damage the gearbox there. When you're driving, particularly over rocks and logs and that kind of thing, they can quite easily hit that axle and damage it. The points are different for every vehicle, so if I was to change truck to that one, you can see this one now has 210 points of suspension, 180 on the gearbox, engine has 240. The options that you choose will affect the durability of the different components that you're driving. So you might find that, I don't know, you choose a gearbox which has a real, great range of gears, but the sacrifice you make is that it's very liable to be damaged. So that's just something that you're going to have to make choices on when you're configuring your vehicles. But that's what I like. Complete flexibility, choices that you can make about how you want to go about things. Makes for some really, really cool gameplay. Now, there are a lot of details in this game. If you pay attention to the driver, for example, you'll see him kind of look around every now and again. He'll wipe his nose, that kind of thing. Look at the exhaust flap. When you rev up, the exhaust flap starts to move. Smoke comes out the back. That will synchronize across multiplayer as well. You will see those differences. The horn, still present. The lights, still present. And you've got a third-person view, which lets you zoom in and out, spin the camera around, that kind of thing. You've also got a first-person view, which is way better than Spintires and MudRunner. It's a proper first-person view with a proper, authentically detailed cab. You can look all around. The gauges do work. When you move forward, you'll notice the speedo actually works as it should. For some reason, sorry, it's in RPMs, as you can see, and I think it's in miles per hour as well. It should be in the States. You can also look out to the left, and you'll notice you've got fully operational mirrors. Not only that, you can keep looking. And so when you're reversing your truck, you can actually look out the window and see what you're doing properly. This is really cool. The only one gripe I would add is the arms. If I do a slight turn, you can see that he crosses his arms ridiculously unnecessarily. To the point of it's not just a distraction, it's actually annoying. If they don't fix that, the one option I would ask them to add is an option to get rid of the arms completely. I would be happy to just have a wheel at that point. I'd rather have that than these arms just flapping around like a chicken. On the outside, the truck is incredibly detailed. This particular one, the Fleet Star, you can see has all-wheel drive, so we can engage that. It engages all the drive wheels. Notice on the bottom left the fuel consumption rate. Under normal driving, once you go to all-wheel drive, it will burn more fuel. If you want diff lock, you have to change gears. So if you hold down the right stick, move into low gear like that, and then press X, you can engage the diff lock like that. That locks all the wheels. Unlike MudRunner, it doesn't seem to keep giving you warnings about leaving diff lock on. I don't think it actually damages the transmission like it used to. So you can just turn diff lock on and off whenever you feel like it. This game's all about getting over difficult terrain, getting over rocks, getting over mud, snow, ice, logs, tree stumps, you name it. You will have to pick and choose your routes as you drive around. You have to make a lot of decisions. If I was to go straight ahead here, for example, I know I'm going to go into some pretty deep mud. So sometimes it's just better to drive slightly off the beaten track and make life a lot easier. That's the farm there. There's a number of jobs that you can do at the farm, but I just want to take you down into town just to have a quick look around. So this is Alaska. As you can see, completely different kind of terrain. Ice and snow in particular is something that you're going to have to watch out for. Ice, of course, very, very slippy. Snow is... it's kind of like if you've driven in mud, it's horrible just the same way, but it's powdery. I'll take you through some now and you can kind of see what it looks like. The ice is very slippery, as I say, but when you get into the snow side of things, and you can see we've got frozen lakes here, so you've got to be very careful. Like, are these things going to take the weight of the truck, or is it just going to crack? Look how slippy that is. So there's different hazards available in Alaska than there are, say, in Michigan or the Tamir, and a whole lot of fun to be had from this game, which brings me to my final thoughts. That's 2 points of damage right there. Is this game worth buying or not? Is it as good as MudRunner or better than MudRunner? What do I think about it? This game is 100% worth buying. This is probably one of the best simulation games that's been released recently. It is fantastic physics, coupled with some really varied and engrossing gameplay. The ability to buy many different trucks, customize them how you want, flexibility about how you approach things, and the ability to play with your friends all across some very big maps. And then, just to add an icing on the cake, you've got mod support, which mods are already available for this game, even though I'm recording this on pre-release. Should you buy this game? Absolutely. Where do we buy this game? Sadly, the only place you can get it right now is the Epic Games Store. But it will give you many hours of enjoyment, and I, for one, am very much looking forward to carrying on playing this as soon as I finish playing this video, which brings me to the end of the video, and also to tell you that I will be making some multiplayer videos of this. They will be going out very shortly, and I'll be playing with a couple of guys. We'll be tackling this game because, frankly, single player is probably a lot too much content to do in terms of videos. It will take a very long time. So I'm going to go multiplayer and see if we can smash through the content. And yeah, you can see how we tackle the problems, but I'm sure you'll tackle them in a very different way. It's so much fun playing on the ice in a truck. It's just so much fun. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I heartily give you my thumbs up for this game, and you know, you've got to look forward to some content from me on it, and I'll absolutely be streaming it over on Twitch as well. So if you want to watch the videos and the streams, you can expect both of them to come. That's it from me. Take care. Happy trucking.